Okay, I'm back, Coach Karen again. So the Why Women series. So I have my notes. I didn't type them, so hopefully I can see them. I wrote them down in pencil. I was supposed to type them yesterday, but I did not. Again, I want to talk about women creating and shaping their own lives, getting rid of those self-limiting beliefs, those insecurities, low initiative levels, low commitment levels, because there's a lot of times when you want changes to happen in your life, you really have to figure out how committed are you to making those changes. It's easy to talk about it, it's easy to think about it, it's even easy to draft a plan and like strategies. But if you're just staring at it and you're just thinking about it and you're not putting it into action, there's nothing going to change. It's going to stay the same. So when we think about women and their self-limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, you wonder where those behaviors, those feelings, those thoughts come from. They don't just appear out of nowhere. Um, Unfortunately, it typically happens where it starts, and sometimes we don't even know how it even all began, is when we were little girls. And sorry, someone told us, or they showed us that, we weren't good enough, we weren't big enough, we weren't old enough, we were girls. And just by saying that word, I'm sure that maybe pricked that, that's very frustrating. There were these limiting beliefs, these constraints put on us because we were little girls. We weren't fast as the boys, physically. Those restrictions not only were targeted to us physically, but it also targeted us mentally through our mental abilities. They held us hostage. Everything that we tried to do, um, when you try and get out of your comfort zone, you self sabotage. So when you want to try something new and you get into your head, I'm going to do this new, whatever it is, and for some reason, you talked yourself out of it. Self sabotage. You talked yourself out of it. Limiting beliefs. And again, what we don't realize is a lot of that has come from when we were little girls. So, little girls who aren't confident, little girls who have self-limiting beliefs, turn into young ladies and women who are not confident, who have low self-esteem, who have limiting beliefs. I want to go back a little bit when we were little girls. I want to go back so maybe I can give a little context on what typically happens when we're girls and how that translates into when we're women. You know, as a little girl, or as little girls, we're active, very active. We think that we can do anything, anything. You tell us that we can't do it, but for boy tells us that we can't do it, oh, we're doing it. Not only are we gonna do it, but we're gonna let them know we did it. We're gonna let them watch us do it. And then we're gonna talk about it later. Remember that time you said I couldn't do it? Did I do it? Yes, you did it. Now, let's think about that. So we're told that we couldn't do it. It was a little girl, a young girl. She was around 10. And her friends were, the boys in her neighborhood were climbing trees. And she wanted to do the same thing. Now, during this time, she was approaching puberty at a very young age. Well, the youngest is probably around 8. So she was about 10. So there were major changes going on physically. So her breasts were getting bigger. She was getting hair under her arms. Um, Cognitively, the way that she thinks and how she reasons. What else? Emotionally, her feelings and how intense they were. And if I'm missing something else, please let me know. So all these changes were going on in her life, and she felt out of control. She was very frustrated because during that time, you're not really given a lot of information about what happens during your period. Not just your period, but during puberty. You're told that these changes are going on. Oh, your breasts are getting bigger, you're going to have hair, and you're getting your period. But you're not really told about the actual, the changes going on the inside. So you're feeling frustrated. You're feeling like other people don't understand what you're going through, because at that time, especially if you don't have a sibling that's around the same age and that's around the same gender, they may not be able to empathize with you, even though they've gone through it, probably, decades before. They may not be able to empathize with you. So this little girl, she was determined to still run with the boys. And there were these trees. She lived in a neighborhood where there were these trees over by her house, and the boys would go and climb these trees. She decided that she was going to go climb the trees. She announced it to everyone. She was very excited, and she was basically told that you're a girl and you can't climb those trees. The trees were huge. The boys would climb the trees. They would jump from tree to tree. They would swing. They probably shouldn't even been up there either. But she was told early on that she could not climb the trees. She's a girl. She's too young. Well, she decided that she was going to climb the trees anyways. So she went by herself. Maybe that wasn't the best thing. Into the area by her house, and there were several trees. So she went and she picked out the tree she wanted to climb, and she stood there and she looked at the tree. It was very imposing. It was huge. Now think of this. She was 10. So a growth spurt didn't start. She was 10. So she was still a little person. And she looked up and she felt like an ant among elephants or among giants. But she was determined to climb that tree. So she took a deep breath and exhaled and started to climb. As she climbed up the tree, all of these thoughts were coming in her head. What are you doing? You could fall. You could hurt yourself. You could cut yourself. You could sprain your leg. You can break your leg. But she just kept going. She refused to let these limiting beliefs, to let the self-sabotage stop her from what she wanted to do. And guess what? She was able to climb the tree all the way to the top. Now, no one else was there, but that was her victory. That was her victory. That was her way of saying, no matter the changes that are going on in my life, in the life of the little girl, that she wanted to at least keep one thing, and that was her ability to overcome challenges. That was her ability to overcome anything that someone told her that she could not do. Once she set her mind to it, she did it. And the thing is, with that, I'm looking at the time, I'm sorry. I got one more video, hold on.